is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some more Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay for you. And today I've got a special video for you, as we are going to be talking about certain weapons that I recognize as the bonus weapons. As you may have wondered throughout my earlier weapons videos, in the SMG video I didn't have the sweeper, and the Magnum video I didn't have the hand cannon. Why? Is because I saved them for this one, as we are going to be comparing the bonus weapons. Now you may be thinking, well, how can you compare these bonus weapons? You know, the infinite launcher, the rocket launcher, the sweeper, SMG, and the hand cannon, and a Magnum. Like, there's no comparison. Well, fear not, because I'm not going to be comparing them with each other. I'm going to be comparing them with their counterparts. What do I mean by counterparts? I mean by counterparts from the original Resident Evil 4, because this is a remake, and that's right. We're going to be comparing the hand cannon from the original with the remake, the sweeper with the typewriter, and the infinite launcher with the infinite launcher. And I think by the end of this video, I think there will definitely be, I guess I'll spoiler here, a clear-cut winner of which ones definitely are superior to the original, because this one is the easiest one I've done so far. But a little fun video I thought we should do. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Our first weapon we'll be looking at is the hand cannon from the remake. Now this thing's special ability obviously is the unlimited ammo, so you can fire indefinitely without even reloading. And it definitely does look cool. I will say I like this look better than the OG's look. It kind of gives me that feel of that old 1989 Batman, that Joker hand pistol, revolver, Magnum, long thing, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how he stored it in his pants, but that's what it kind of gives me a look. Obviously not as long as the movie one, but it does have a few things I'm not a big fan of as well. But it is powerful, don't get me wrong, but I think its big problem here, and you'll definitely see it compared to the OG, is just its accuracy. Is it, you know, when you hit, it's good, but when you don't hit, it's not good. And obviously we're going to be testing on the Verdugo right here, and he's one of the test dummies for today's video. But after a little while, a little freezing over, he finally shatters, and this is pretty powerful in the terms of the remake, which is very important, as you'll see eventually. Our other test dummy today is Salazar, and here, you know, you also can see it's when it hits, it's good, but the problem is, especially at a distance, it's definitely not good, and accuracy is all over the place. Obviously, it helps that you can fire indefinitely, but you know, it's why a lot of people, and if I had to put this in a Magnum, probably might still prefer the Killer 7 because it has that laser sight on it. But eventually, Salazar does go down, but it took a little while. So how does that compare to the OG? And I think the first thing you notice right off the bat is, oh my God, the damage. This thing is basically 2.5 times more powerful than the remakes one, and begs the question, why is it so different? I mean, 99.9 firepower, that's ridiculous. And as I said, I don't know why is it so different, why is it so good. Obviously, I will say I do like the remake look a little bit better than this one. But unfortunately for the remake hand cannon, that's not all where the differences lie, as you'll see really shortly here. Because the hand cannon has a laser sight, and that's another huge difference. And honestly, as I said before, with the remake hand cannon, you know, the accuracy is very hit and miss. And this, with a laser sight, it's just night and day. So it has 99 damage compared to the remakes, I think 30-some, 8 or something, I forget off the top of my head, but it's just like, on top of having a laser sight, so not only are you killing things faster, you also have the accuracy. So I think it's easy to determine who wins this one. Easily the hand cannon from the OG, so that's a point going to the original Resident Evil 4. But without further ado, let's get into the next weapon comparison, and that is going to be the sweeper versus the typewriter. The Chicago sweeper is the SMG. It obviously has the unlimited ammo, so you can fire it indefinitely. I love the drum magazine. Once again, I like the remake look obviously better than the OG, because basically probably because of that drum magazine. And this one, in terms of what they both do, both of them are pretty similar in terms of, you know, how they fire and what they do, but there is one obvious difference, and maybe you can already tell by looking at it. But when we do get to the sweeper and what it can do, so here once again we're fighting the Verdugo, and as I said before, it doesn't really matter. It takes a little while to put them down. You do give them stun lock here. And I said it's really good in the case of this game But as you can already know, it is taking a while. And granted, you might be wondering, well, obviously he's not frozen. But honestly, it's not really going to make any difference when we compare it to the OG, as you'll see soon eventually. But eventually it does go down, but it did take a little while. So now let's go on to Salazar. And granted, the Salazar fight obviously is different from the remake compared to the original, because obviously it's mobile compared to the standing still. But even so, it still does take a little while to put him down. As I said, the sweeper is definitely a solid weapon, don't get me wrong, but when you compare it to the original, its original counterpart, the typewriter, you're going to see, once again, similar to the hand cannon, that it has a similar problem. Maybe not as big as the hand cannon difference, but once again, it goes with the firepower, the overall damage, and this sweeper had 2, and the firepower of the typewriter is 10. I mean, that's a 5 times bigger difference. And it just makes you go, why is the difference so huge? I'm actually kind of curious why it is that big discrepancy between the OG and the remake in terms of these bonus weapons. But you can just obviously see there, like, good God, like, so obviously you would assume that with that big difference in firepower, the typewriter is just gonna go to town with all these bosses I'm about to demonstrate it on, and rightfully so. So let's get to the Verdugo and let's see how long this one takes. And also, just to know that this is just the first part when you encounter him. He does hit me there, but eventually he just goes down really quick and bam, it's over. I think an even bigger discrepancy is between the Salazar fights, because once you expose him in here, that's right at the eye, it just does not take long to put him down, and that firepower difference is really huge. And once again, as you guys can expect, the OG once again triumphs with the typewriter completely beating the sweeper. So that's 2-0 OG over the remake. So right now it seems to be a curb stomp. So hopefully, and maybe we can turn things around in remake's favor. But let's get to the next bonus weapons, and that is the infinite rocket launcher. Now, the infinite rocket launcher does not have stats. It's a rocket launcher that you can fire indefinitely. So you might be wondering, okay, well, if they don't have stats and they're just simply a rocket launcher, how can you tell the difference between either one, and how can one be better than the other? And there's actually an easy answer. And once again, this one's pretty easy to determine too, but let's test it out here. As when you fire the rocket launcher here, it's in third person, which is very important. And also, not to mention that when you do aim down the sights, it pretty much is automatic. There's no delay here as we instantly vaporize the bosses, as assumed, because rocket launchers for the most part are one-shot kills, not unless there's some different phase boss fight. But let's get back to the OG infinite launcher. And basically, similar look, similar thing. As no stats, you don't really need them. It's a rocket launcher. But you'll start to see here why the remake is definitely going to be favored in this fight, because of a simple thing. As I said, it's how the ADS goes. When you aim this rocket launcher, it takes a little second or two to go down through the sights, but also goes in a first-person mode, and there's a little bit of a delay there. So obviously, you can spam the remake one a lot faster than you can spam this. Granted, you might not need to spam as the enemies die, but you can definitely have less ADS in the remake than compared to the original one. So in this case, finally the remake gets a victory. I definitely prefer the remake rocket launcher of sticking in a third-person view compared to the OG. So 2 to the OG, 1 to the remake overall. And that is the bonus weapons that we're going to be discussing today. So overall, yeah, it's kind of shocking how different the bonus weapons of the original have. So much more damage. Not compared to rocket launchers, obviously, they're the same, but in terms of the damage, the hand cannon and typewriter are just easily, not even close, outclass the bonus ones. But I know what you're all thinking. You want me to address the elephant in the room and talk about something that you probably, as soon as you saw on the screen, wonder if I'm going to mention it. Yes, I know there's 2 other bonus weapons. The Problem Knife for the remake, which, granted, what are you really going to compare that to other than maybe other knives in the remake? And, of course, the one that I know you probably have your eye on, as you're looking at it right now, the PRL 412. Now, just for, knowledge's sake, the PRL 412 could very possibly be my all-time favorite Resident Evil weapon. And, unfortunately, it's not in the remake. And I'll be the first one to admit that's probably my most sour thing that's not in the remake that was in the original of all things, is the PRR 412, because I I have a very soft spot for this weapon. I just absolutely love it to this day. It's probably my favorite Resident Evil weapon, period. Not just 4 weapon, but just any weapon in Resident Evil. And maybe, just maybe, if we get some certain content later on from Resident Evil 4 Remake, maybe that PRL 412 can make a return. I'm really crossing my fingers, holding out hope for it, because to me, it's the most unique and different weapon in Resident Evil, in my opinion. But that's what I said, my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinions. What do you think of the bonus weapons? Do you think you think it's so weird that the damage difference between the bonus weapons and the OG and remake are so different? Do you think the PRL 412 will make a return later on in the year? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this little video. I thought it'd be a little fun thing to compare the two between the OG and the remake. Just amazing the differences, but also some similarities as well. And I do enjoy reading your comments about the weapons, because one thing I've learned from reading your guys' thoughts on this is that if you put 1,000 of us in a room and we all gave our opinions on these weapons, they'd be all completely different. But that is going to be it. Hopefully I can see you guys back on my next video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace.